Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Citizens Corner. And this week, I think there is an odd echo in here. Is there anyone else in here? Hello?
Nope, no one's here.
Oh, crap. What are you doing on my Citizens Corner?
I'm doing a raid.
A raid? Oh, no. We just got political. Now we're doomed. I think that must be... You think you just demonetized the whole video?
No, I didn't say anything. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, no. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump on into it here. First question is from Tom N. I'm not an FPS player, but I'm not sure I agree with your view on the siege weapons FPS analogy. In sub-simulators, you're effectively sniping. When I talk about sniping, I don't think that you could say that the torpedoes or missiles are the equivalent of sniping. Those kind of weapons, they're tracking, they're long range, they can be countered. But, if there's one long-range gameplay that should exist in Star Citizen, it should be these kind of weapons. It should be these missiles. Like Lightning and I, we've talked about this quite a few times, how basically, like the size 1 missile should have maybe like a 5-kilometer range, size 2 should have maybe have some 7.5 or 10, and on and on and on.
I believe we had a blast cast talking about a rebalance pass to all the stuff.
Not only would it inflict, missiles size change the damage output, but
you could also make them a speed. Like your size 1 missiles, they have very short range, but they're very, very fast, and they're hard to avoid. So if you just want a little bit of extra burst damage, you just strap on a big pod of size 1 missiles. And then obviously as you scale up from that, all the way into like torpedo class weapons, torpedoes are big, lumbering, and slow, but they're designed to go against larger targets that are, just as big and lumbering.
Yeah, and as I said, I always... The problem is as well, and we'll get into this here in just the next question, but to a little bit more detail, is that with these particular we're talking about sniping, I remember Chris stating very specifically that he wanted to have a kind of a close-ranged, personal World War II kind of dogfighting experience. And I feel that by introducing these kind of mechanics, you're really going to step away from that vision. And maybe I'm wrong, but I feel that this is kind of the kind of weapon, the kind of mechanic I was never going to expect to see in Star Citizen, let alone hearing the term sniping in a flight game.
Time to kill, sniping,
DPS.
Yep, DPS.
All right, another question from Are Any Usernames Left? I actually like that name. In the Banu/alien-focused town hall, they answered a question about if the tachyon weapons would be hit scan or not. The official answer is they plan to never implement any hit scan or speed of light projectiles in game. It's one of the reasons beam weapons were also out. Instead, the tachyon cannons are intended to have significantly higher projectile speeds and possibly longer effective ranges related to the sniper analogy used for the Defender than existing weapons, but still be potentially avoidable by an agile ship and or very skilled fighter pilot. It's hard to dodge something that's extreme with this kind of level of accuracy and the kind of rate of speed. See, we're always talking about like time on target and dodging. We should be talking about positioning. We should be talking about... See, in flight games, most of the times you're dealing with you're either offensive or you're defensive. And it seems to me that we're always just kind of doing this, 2 ships facing each other, firing at each other, but now we're going to have one doing it from, say, 10 kilometers away.
If you want to simplify this even further, if you just go all the way back to World War II, and this applies to tanks and planes, the first person spotted was like 9 times out of 10 the person to lose. If you were in a tank battalion and you were camped up on a ridge and you had a bunch of cover, either it was made cover or it was natural cover, and you spotted a convoy of tanks driving along the road, odds are you're going to get all the time in the world to line up the shot and blow them away. And the same thing applied with the airplanes. If you were at a very high altitude, maybe you're flying away from the sun, so the sun's at your back, and you see enemy fighters below you, or above you, whichever, they can't see you, because the sun is, in their eyes, basically. And the odds are that you're going to get behind them easier, and you're going to just wipe them all out before they can even react. And that's what the World War II kind of stuff was. It was all about positioning.
Yeah, very much so. But now let's take these tachyon weapons, okay? And obviously, in Star Citizen, you can take one weapon off one ship and put it on another. Let's go ahead and apply these size 2s, or whatever size they're going to have equivalent. Obviously, they're going to be smaller and larger. Let's throw them on turrets. So let's just say we get the Retaliators up and running. We got, they upgrade the turrets.
Don't get my hopes up.
Let's say they get like all the turrets just go size 3 now, right? And things got and someone says, I'm gonna put those tachyon guns on there instead. 15-kilometer range turrets. That is going to make turreted ships like that just scary.
You have to fly in a straight line to get to them. And if you're flying in a straight line and you have very, very rapid weapons firing at you, you're just going to die.
You're going to have so many turrets. Let's throw them on a Polaris. It's like, yeah, it'll work great on a fighter. But what are you going to do when that's on a turret platform? What are you going to do when it's an other scenario? I mean, holy crap! When you're trying to build something on a theme, you want to kind of keep within that. You can't have these. One thing is like we're talking about when you have a mechanic that bypasses a defense. People will end up eventually using that as the meta.
Block, disable, or move before you even block.
Champions Online
stopping block.
Right. They people were complaining about people being able to block, that tanks were blocking all the attackers. But when tanks were blocking, they couldn't do any damage. So it was like a stalemate, so to speak. So you had your DPS class and your tank class stalemating. Okay, fine. That sounds pretty reasonable. But a lot of people got upset about the blocking, so they created a block disabler that disables your block before you can block, before you're even actively blocking, so you can never actually block again. And the whole combat basically turns into block disabler, a stun, stab, you win. That's all it is. It's completely and totally destroyed the PvP in that game. I quit caring about it a long time ago. Block disablers. I said once everyone has a block disabler in the bar if you're PvPing. You can't. So it's the same way. If you've got something that's always it makes the difference between instant win or not winning at all. That doesn't become a choice anymore. Like, I don't like to have block disablers on my powers because they're weaker. But if I want to do PvP with that character, I have to have that ability. There's no way around it. Which takes my choice out of the mix. So once again, if you've got a turreted ship and you've got the choice between shooting at someone from effectively 3 kilometers away, maybe 2.5, or shooting at them from 10, which one are you going to take? Is there a choice there? I don't think there is. I mean,
not unless there's massive and severe penalties to using these tachyon weapons.
Even think about it. If you've got fighter escorts with you, right? Do you think they're going to be fighting within 2 kilometers of you? No. You're going to want the long-range guns as well, because as they're out there like 5, 6, 7 kilometers around your ship, engaging whatever, your turrets are still working on shooting the enemy down. This effectively becomes the meta for turrets. And of course, yes, I know that they can balance things out with fire rates and things like those, but the range is always going to be the factor. I think it's just going to, once again, being able to shoot at all is more effective than not being able to shoot. So it's one of those things, even if it's slower, the fact that you're going to hit at a range that no one else can hit, that becomes
one damage is better than 0 damage.
Yeah, it becomes a meta. So this is something that they really need to be careful about and really think about before they implement, because if done wrong, I see this having all sorts of implications to the gameplay. Maybe I'm being overly sensitive, who knows. Chris Walker, a 4-hour mission? How would you pause a mission in an MMO like that? I'd never play a game like that. It seems like a problem for a solo player to fly anything bigger than a Redeemer. Well, in my perspective, a 4-hour mission should be an option in the game. The reason is that some people want longer content like that. And look at it this way. I used to do Nox Ramas 40 runs in Wrath of the Lich King World of Warcraft. Those took 8 hours to finish. They were just long and involved, and it was an all-day event, but people showed up for them, 40 of them. You know, when you're trying to coordinate something like a Polaris or an Idris or a Javelin, and you're trying to get guildies and stuff in it, do you think that everyone's going to want to spend like an hour coordinating to jump in the ship and do a 30-minute mission? Most people will get annoyed by that. They're going to want something like longer and involved. Like today, we're having a guild event. It's going to take a couple hours, do this mission or whatnot. Everyone who can join or has the time, get in, and then go out and do this mission together. For larger ships like that, I see short missions actually being a problem. I see them as being not worth the effort. You'd be better off just getting a bunch of fighters together and going off and doing. I see fighters as kind of like the quick gameplay. When you say lightning, like if you have a fighter or something, that's just kind of in and out, done in half an hour kind of thing.
Yep.
You know, and the large ships, you're kind of dedicated to a much deeper campaign. So, no, I don't see it being a problem for an MMO, being that other MMOs currently already do it.
Well, one thing you and I talked about, it was, I don't know if it was when you were at work or something, but we were talking about just the general time and length of missions for a show idea that we have coming up, and how it's like, well, how long is it going to take you to, you know, if you have to land on the planet to get the supplies, how long is it going to take you to land, how long is it going to take you to get off the planet? And there's the travel distance. I mean, are you just going and taking stuff to the space station, so it's a very small run, something that's already in orbit? Are you going to take it to another moon, a different planet, a different system? And you know, and the time factor that these things are going to involve should scale massively with the amount of money you get. So if you just want to do cargo runs up and down to the planet because you love flying through planets, you know, those wouldn't be there as an option. But you're not going to get as much money like if you want to go to a moon, because you're going to be like double or triple the time. And if you're going to take cargo to a different you know, solar system, you know, it's going to like, you know, a couple hours of travel with a lot more danger depending on where you are, and the money should reflect that.
The thing is that Star Citizen is going to cater to those who have short amount of time to play. But let's be realistic about something here. If you're a backer of Star Citizen isn't a game that's going to be a fast-fooded experience if you're in the persistent universe. If you're looking for quick in-and-out action combat, that's what Arena Commander's for. They're going to have that. They're going to have Star Marine. But when you're dealing with a persistent universe, if you have a mission to deliver cargo 2 sectors over, and they're running even at a quarter a scale with a 0.2 light speed quantum drive, you know how long that's going to take you to jump several sectors over? That could take you hours in and of itself just to get to where you're going, not to mention fuel stops, all the other stuff along the way. This is not a game where basically you can do anything that's going to have real depth or value and be done with it in 10 minutes. It's not going to happen. So, and if it does, then they massively failed on their vision. Keep that in mind as you're like, who's going to want to do a 4-hour thing? Well, to be honest with you, if the missions are done right, even if you're flying by yourself on a single ship just doing a standard cargo run, that just might be you for a standard mission. It depends. It really does. And of course, once again, you should have the option to choose, as Lightning said, the smaller cargo runs from spaceport to planet, from planet to moon, to within the same system from planet to planet. But if you want the more expensive and the higher payouts, then you gotta go the extra distance and take the extra time. So yeah, I hope they offer that kind of experience that everyone's looking for at all time settings, because I know a lot of us out there, you've got family, you've got kids, you got things like that going on, you've got jobs, you got overtime, you don't have a lot of time. And they need to make sure that they build a game that you can play as well. Of course, anytime you mention Star Citizen and Elite Dangerous in the same video, you're bound to get some feedback that's positive and negative. So we wanted to go ahead and talk about some of those concerns. And we should point out here that we both really enjoyed playing Elite Dangerous. When the team started working and we formed up and went into combat zones or doing dogfighting, it was great. You had a fairly fast-paced combat, and if you weren't paying attention, you could end up fighting like 5 hostile ships or so. And or when a big bounty ship came in, like an Anaconda, Python, needing to work together, that was kind of fun. You know, you get out there and split that huge bounty. The problem we had is when they added new things that never felt really thoroughly thought out. sure, on launch, combat was hands down the best thing to do to make money. Even in a small ship like the Viper, Lightning used to use a Viper for like weeks before kind of being forced into flying a Cobra. Super Nacho.
Every single day, when we went out and played, because we played it every single day when it first came out, because it was amazing. We had fun, and the Viper was really easy to get into compared to the Sidewinder. I believe it took me just maybe 10-20 minutes to get out of it. And so I spent a lot of time upgrading that ship and putting a lot of money into it, and I learned how to fly it very well. As far as the World War II flight mechanics, right? I mean, I still wasn't amazing at it because I never used decoupled mode, which you started doing towards the end. And I stuck with it for so long. You're just like, Lightning, you have to pick a bigger ship, because when the bigger ships would come in, I'd be like, help me, Jarvis, there's an Imperial Clipper attacking me. And so you'd have to finish what you were doing to come over and help me. And so, yeah, I mean, I eventually had to go to the Cobra Mark III.
The Super Nacho.
The Super Nacho, just for some better survivability. But because I had spent so much time in the Viper and put so much money into it, I think I went all the way up to B-class upgrades.
Yeah. And luckily, a ship like that, the upgrades aren't as expensive. But I think upgrades are well past the cost of the baseline of the ship, 3 times more or something like that for the good quality ones.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But you just have to, if you want, it makes a difference. It really does. But you really couldn't do much soloing on anything that came out. I mean, you could, you couldn't. It's one of those things that it depends on the situation. It would take
a lot longer. I could do it, but it just took forever.
And of course a lot of people who were flying the Vipers were complaining that it wasn't as good as the larger ships. So some ships got, the Viper got buffed up a little bit, and basically some of the larger ships got brought down to level. Like I was playing with my Python. The Python is nothing compared to what it used to be. Here's a ship that's basically worth well over 100
73 million or something.
Yeah, but not counting the upgrades that I have, right? And people are upset that a Viper, which was basically 250,000 credits plus the upgrades. You spend maybe $1.5 million on a fully upgraded ship, right? And they were upset that this $1.5 million ship wasn't just raffle stomping this well over $100 million, pushing to $150 million plus for upgrades ship. And so they basically tore the Python's defensive and offensive capabilities for the most part down to crap. And so
maneuverability took a big hit.
Yeah, I basically just I use it for cargo runs because it can land on the medium platforms, and I just basically when I get interdicted, because it's a large mass ship for the most part, I just drop myself out manually and then jump again instantly. Because if they pull you out, then you're stuck for a while. And while the ship can take the beating, I just no, I'll let you pull me out. Boom, I jump. I'm done. I'm not even gonna stick around. So I just kind of let them do their thing, and I just keep on trucking. But the ship's it's strong enough to survive, but it's nothing like it used to be. And all because of complaints that basically it was too powerful compared to a lot of the fighters. It's just dude, look at the cost. They did release
a combat variant, the Ferdy Lance you used for a long time, but
yeah, the Ferdy Lance used it for no cargo space, though.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest reason why you went back, is you just realized, I'll just learn to fly the ship better because not having any cargo.
Yeah, the Ferdy Lance is a way better combat ship, but the thing is that it can't carry anything for cargo. So
didn't it also have really hard to manage power grids?
But the Ferdy Lance?
Yeah.
I had basically, because of the large gun in the bottom, the way I had set up, I had to deactivate the gun in the bottom, or it shut all my other weapons off. Now, when some of my ammo weapons run out or whatnot, I deactivate some of my other weapons and then swap it around.
Yeah.
I had to basically, on the fly, change power settings, activation.
I've got the Vulture, and that's got 2 large hardpoints.
Yeah, I have Vulture
that
as well.
thing is pretty beastly to try and maintain your power grid.
Yeah, that's my favorite fighter, but yeah, I definitely have Vulture as well. So yeah, there's all these different things like that, but factions. They introduced factions into Elite Dangerous, and that was probably one of the most poorly implemented things I've ever seen. You've got this massive grind to get faction points up to the next rank, and the amount of points you need scales so massively that your entire life would pretty much have to be dedicated to doing it. And I can't even believe that they look at this as a legitimate way. And then, of course, at the end of every week, everything gets, you lose, you basically go down, you basically get, if you don't participate, you drop a rank. So you could get up to that rank 5.
It's like the new Prey gameplay. They've installed the neural mods. And, oh, who are you?
Yeah. If you don't get that rank 5, point scale again, you'll get demoted to rank 4 or whatnot. And so you've got this constant grind to maintain your rank or to keep trying to push it up. And it's not worth the effort. I actually left all the factions. I just said, you know what? I'm tired of getting attacked by opposing factions. I'm not getting anything out of this. I'm done with it. So I stopped playing with factions.
It was more of a permanent reputation that you always had.
Yeah.
They could make it so, let's say it's double the amount of rep you needed, but it's permanent. Like, if you get, rank 1, you have rank 1 forever. Yeah. If you have 2,000 reputation, you just have even if 2,000 rep.
Even if they have a slow degrade for lack of participation, I totally get that. But not this massive grind it puts you through. Like, oh, if you don't participate, you lose like 100 a week. You don't participate or whatever. I can deal with that. But the thing is that the way they've got it set up is just terrible, and I won't even mess with it. It's just not worth the effort. Not for the bonuses you get out of it.
As far as I understand, it hasn't been changed either.
Yeah, all the time it takes for me to get that rank up, to get those bonuses, I could just go do other things and make up the monetary difference. It's just not worth it to me. It really isn't. Of course, multi-crew, when you have the people jumping in, yes, of course, you can do the private instances and you can close it off to people who aren't that you don't know. But the thing is that to design something that gives you leave it open because you just want to meet people and whatnot. When you design something that inherently puts the player in danger or risk of losing everything that he has because of these trolls or these troll mechanics, things that people find to exploit, and you put that into the game, and the devs pretty much came out and openly admitted that they hadn't considered that people may do these things. It's like, wait a minute, you've been having an online game for for what, several years now, and you haven't figured out that
trolls exist.
I mean,
now
wow.
I forget who it was, but someone did comment about the factions. They're going to be introducing a karma system.
Yeah, Kirk Flipper.
I don't.
He's got a great channel covering Star Citizen. I mean, Elite Dangerous. Check him out there if you're looking for some information on what they're doing. He's really good at following the dev posts and things like that and breaking them down. So yeah, there's a lot of things that had to be fixed on that, and there's a lot of things that frankly shouldn't have been an issue to begin with. And of course, you got the issue with missions being locked out by reputation. It's a very slow grind. I mean, you start off like if you go to a new sector, space or whatever, and you're out there. Basically, you could have a ship that carries 100 plus tons of cargo, and the best you can get is like, oh, I'm going to get transport these documents for 5,000 credits, and you got to do that crap.
Or 5 tons of bio waste.
Yeah, you got to do that crap over and over and over for the longest time to get that reputation up. Now they should offer, like, yeah, you can fill up your hole, but we're gonna pay you less than if you had better reputation with us. Reputation should give you a monetary advantage. It shouldn't lock out whole missions. There's a problem where basically Elite is trying to make players grind as hard as they can go. Now, honestly, it was partially playing Elite Dangerous that made me pledge for the 22 ships that I have in Star Citizen, because I don't want to grind like that. Now, I don't think Star Citizen is going to have that kind of grind, but I didn't even want to risk it. I have all the ships that I want. I have everything that I want. In Elite Dangerous, the grind is obnoxious, and I don't even have close to what I want, because
you spent what, 6 months to get your Python?
Yeah. I mean, of course, I have a life and I have a job, and there's other things I'm trying to do. So the time I do play, I got that all together, and I'm like, and I managed to also get one of those vultures too. I haven't put that one together yet, but the thing is that I also try to keep enough of a buffer for insurance to make sure that if something does happen, I don't lose everything. So all that together, but I feel like Elite Dangerous is just grind, and every time they add a layer, and there's a lot of things that like, for example, people want to rip on Star Citizen for having, you have to buy all these ships and blah blah. First of all, no, you don't. Anything that you can pledge for will be obtainable in-game with in-game currency. And I mean anything. We're talking ships, skins, all little knickknacks, little plants or pictures on your wall, whatever, all of it obtainable in-game. They've already stated this. But let's look at some facts here, okay? I purchased Elite Dangerous and I bought the expansion when it came out, so we're looking at $120 there, okay? Then let's go ahead and look at the other things you have. You have skins, you have flight suits, you have facial things, you have hairstyles, you have all these new things that have come out, right? You have weapon colors and all these other things. Here's an example. Ask Explorer Raider Pack, $12 to add some junk onto your ship that basically looks like little parts of metal coming out. Imperial Eagle Tactical Paint Pack, $4. Vibrant Paint Pack, $4. Military Paint Pack, $4. Flight suits, $3 a flight suit. Here's $3 for one paint job on an Anaconda. I mean, I'm looking at this in the website right now. Nameplates. You want to have a nameplate in your ship? That's $3. War paint on your face? That's $1.75. These are things you cannot obtain in game, and they got pages and pages and pages and pages of this. So I hate to say this, guys, but all the people out there trying to tout that Elite Dangerous isn't milking you to death or isn't trying to milk you like Star Citizen does, bull crap. Because you can't get this stuff in game any other way. There's pages upon pages of microtransactions of things that if you want to customize the game to any respect, you have to pay them out the butt. And Star Citizen is going to give you the option that you can do your own basically your own custom color schemes and things in the game. It's not going to be something behind a paywall. And yes, they're going to sell in-game currency, but you know what? They're just cutting off the Chinese, basically Chinese cold market resellers at the pass. And also, that also shows me they're doing one other thing that Elite's not doing. It's going to allow us to trade money to one another. Something that Elite seems to be massively afraid of letting us do. The best that Lightning and I come up with is what I drop cargo containers of gold and let you pick them up.
Yeah. You buy whatever my cargo hold limit is of the highest value item in the store, and then we fly out like out of sensor range of the station. You dump your cargo hold, and I do the little mini game to scoop. By the way, that mini game is awful, and I hate it. I get that they don't want to have tractor beams, but there's a thing as we make the show go on for way too long here. But when you have like immersion in gameplay, immersion is one thing. You want your game to feel like everything is cohesive and it's working together and it's made, it's believable in the universe. But on the other side, you want to have fun and enjoyable gameplay. So you don't want to, lock people out of certain things or make some stuff like incredibly harder. Like mining. Elite's mining has always been kind of questionable, and they added the little drones, and that made it better. But the drones take up cargo space. So if you bring too many drones, you're going to run out of space. If you don't bring enough drones, you're going to.
And then you're constantly getting attacked when you're mining.
Yes.
Oh,
you have
so obnoxious.
Anything in your cargo.
Oh, you got cargo.
You could have dog poop in your cargo, and the pirates would be like, "I want that. I want 1 ton of dog poop," and they will try and kill you for it. Yeah,
and that's so there's all these things that they said they really haven't thoroughly thought out. But with 3.0, and as an Evocati tester, so sometime in June, I'm going to be testing this. So, and then of course by late June or early July, it should basically be live in everyone's hands. So what's 3.0? Okay, so basically, what's Elite gonna have that Star Citizen isn't gonna have at 3.0? Well, we're gonna have mining, as far as I understand, cargo, smuggling. We're gonna have, of course, combat. Missions. So what is the difference going to be? Well,
size, really. That's it.
Also, we're going to have planets and ground vehicles, except we'll actually have more selection of ground vehicles, which is kind of weird.
We'll have first-person combat.
We'll have first-person combat and interactivity with NPCs that actually exist in a world. Elite Dangerous doesn't have that yet, and it may not for quite some time. And the thing is that some people like to say, Star Citizen is a scam because it's been 5 years and this is all you have. It's like, do you understand that games take anywhere from 7 to 8 years to come around, and most of the times you don't see any gameplay until about a year to 6 months before the game even comes out.
When they release a trailer for a AAA game, usually it's done, and they're doing 6 months of bug testing. 6 months of bug testing.
Yeah. So I mean, what you're seeing is we're well inside the normal development window and have access to things that that we really normally would not have. So we're doing fine. And you got to think as well, for $60, you're going to be getting a single-player campaign, and you're going to be getting an online MMO. And don't forget that Elite, at the last minute, had to give refunds to a lot of people because they dropped their single-player component. So, you know, there are pluses and minuses to both of these games. But I don't like fanboyism, where basically we can't look at the things that are right, the things that are wrong, and honestly say, I like this or I don't like this, but to flat out call one thing garbage or to flat out call one thing great because you support it or you hate it is just not logical, and I really can't get behind that kind of attitude.
And you know what? If 3.0 comes out and they have stupid game mechanics,
then we're going to be all over it.
For what they are. They're going to be stupid game mechanics.
Yeah, we are not White Knights.
No, I'm not going to give Star Citizen any slack. In fact, I'll probably be more harsh on it because I expect more things from it. Elite has had several opportunities to bring me back, and they release something new, and well, it's not that good, or they've nerfed the crap out of something, or they've rebalanced something else, and you're like, what are you guys thinking? I mean, are you trying to make a game, or are you trying to make a universe? Because one thing is good, and the other thing is, like, you know, if I just wanted to live a regular life, I do that every day. I go to games to have fun. Right.
And the way the Star Citizen's approaching it, honestly, I feel that the idea of having 100 or so systems with deep content is going to be way more interesting to me than a quadrillion systems with almost nothing to do. And that's my point of view on it. Elite, what they need to concentrate on now is making depth, because they've got the width, and if they keep just doing what they're doing, they're going to fail. And I don't want to see them fail because I put money into the game, so that's just me being honest about how I feel. But anyway, guys, I think we've beaten that horse all to death. So
yeah, we're probably not going to bring up Elite Dangerous for a few days, I guess weeks.
Few days. That's apparently still not dead. No. All right, guys, we'll move on here and go ahead and wrap up the show. So, you know, basically that's our thoughts on everything. And if you have any comments or questions, leave all that good stuff down below, and we will go ahead and try to get answers to you on the next time. Hopefully I can keep bringing LD in here to these particular shows so we can go ahead and
make them twice as long.
Make them twice as long. Make them and add some feedback so that when I say something stupid, he calls me out on it too. Because he's not my White Knight, and I'm not his. So, all right, guys, we'll catch you next time. Thanks for listening. Say it.
No, I'm not going to say it.
Darn it.